Good evening, everybody. This is Daily Recall for June 21st, 2026. Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So, Sunday, not really much going on today. Still more reaction to Mark Carney's announcement about how they're going to buy a bunch of condos, unsold condos in Vancouver. Basically bailing out some condo developer buddies of his. And so still a lot of reaction to that. And I was saying, I wonder if Toronto's going to get a bailout too, because they got a lot of empty condos. We'll see. I don't know. The whole real estate thing's screwed in Canada. It's screwed. We're saying like we should, instead of worrying about housing as making housing as the driver of our economy, it should be like oil and gas, minerals, like iron or ore, nickel, whatever, anything productive. But we just build condos that the government has to end up buying, and they're shitty condos. They're like shoebox condos. I don't know whose idea it was to build all these condos, but and I don't know what else is going on. Oh, the Prime Minister of UK, they're saying he's gonna quit. He's gonna he's gonna do like Trudeau. Like he announced his resignation and like a timetable for him to leave. So that's he says they're saying he's gonna do that tomorrow. And how does it relate to Canada? It's interesting because that's like there's gonna be like their sixth prime minister in 10 years in the UK. So it's crazy. But Canada, I think is a little behind the UK. So we could be in for like the same kind of instability where we're getting a different prime minister every 2 years. Because that's how it is over there. It's screwed. It's screwed the whole country in the UK, screwed. And I think they're ahead of us. They're ahead of us in the downward trend, so we're probably within a couple years, a year probably, won't be far behind them when it comes to political instability. So those are the two things, and then the Iran thing might start up again. Who knows? Who knows? I don't follow it anymore until the bombs start flying. They are flying in Lebanon, but who knows? I think it's all fake. I think the whole peace thing was a fake, but we'll see. Until the bombs start flying again, I'm not gonna like anything Trump says. He says he's gonna bomb them, then he says he's not gonna bomb them. Anyway, so let's just go through the day's events or the day's stuff. Not much going on. I saw this video today. It's the girl and her little dog sitting in the park in the UK, I think. And it says a young girl called Isabella is out with her dog Suki. A man approaches her and wants her to take her into the woods. And she leaves quickly. And just because summer's coming and we're going to be at the beach and the parks. And it's worse. I think it's worse, probably worse in Europe or in Toronto area. But poor girls can't even sit in the park without getting harassed, and sometimes worse. Let's look at this. Hold on. Do I have my phone? Oh.
I just trained my dog here. Yeah. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, anyway, I can't get volume, but she's getting harassed by some,
She likes to play. She's trying to get
looks like a homeless migrant in the park. Wonder why it's not working, the video.
I'm 16. Huh? I'm 16 or 6.
Anyway.
At the same time, there's too many completed condos. Around 2,500 finished units are standing vacant.
I'll try a
with no
different wire
buyers.
here.
With higher interest rates, weaker investment demand, developers are stuck. They don't want to sell at a loss. They can't afford. And the problem don't just sit idle. They also disincentivize
Sorry.
new construction.
All right, now I'm gonna do
unsettle
this.
lenders and investors, create a housing market that, in effect, feels frozen.
Let's go back to this one. Does it work?
Okay, no worries. Thank you. See you. Yeah. Yeah. Suki.
Suki. Suki. What's your name? What's your name?
Isabella.
Isabella.
Yeah.
How you doing, Isabella?
Hold on. All right. She needs a bigger dog.
She just
Okay.
plays football. She really wants to say hello to my couple, but I'm not letting her. Good job. Hi. She likes to play. She's very energetic. Suki.
Suki. Suki. What's your name?
She needs a bigger dog.
What's your name?
Isabella.
Isabella.
Yeah.
How you doing, Isabella?
Yeah. Yeah, I just trained my dog here. Yeah. Thank you. Good job, Suki. Good job. She just plays football. She really wants to say hello to my couple, but I'm not letting her. Good job. Hi. She likes to play. She's very energetic. Yeah, no, she's not. She's school grown actually. Yeah, she's a year 3. I'm 16. Yeah.
16. She shouldn't. She should just be telling the guy. She should just tell him to buzz off, because now he thinks
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
he thinks she's into him. And then look what he does now.
I'm gonna go.
So he's like,
Huh? What? Oh.
he's like, do you want to come to the
that's a
woods with
bit
me?
Weird to say. Come here, Suki. Let's go. Thank you. Come
Let's
on.
go. Yeah, I'm really gonna. She's really gonna go in the woods with you, buddy.
Good job. She doesn't really like men to be.
But anyway, that's what girls have to put up with, and women, in as a result of these policies, bringing in all these sex pests, sex wannabe rapists. You know, not all of them are rapists. Some of them are just pests. Okay, here's Carney. This is him yesterday, or the other day.
Condos sitting empty.
He's trying to save those poor
And
developers.
At the same time, there's too many completed condos sitting empty. Metro Vancouver alone, around 2,500 finished units are standing vacant with no buyers. With higher interest rates, weaker investment demand, developers are stuck. They don't want to sell at a loss. They can't afford to hold those empty units indefinitely. And the problem is that those empty homes don't just sit idle. They also disincentivize new construction, unsettle lenders and investors, create a housing market that, in effect, feels frozen. Result, too many British Columbians still can't find the homes that they can afford. Nous changeons tout cela avec un plan qui
I don't know if that makes any sense. So he's saying basically, because there's all these empty homes, and nobody wants to buy them. Okay, that nobody's gonna build new homes, which is, I guess, makes sense. But it's because nobody can afford the homes. Like, you've seen these condo prices. Now the government's gonna screw it up. They're gonna make it affordable housing. Oh my God. I don't know how that one's gonna work. Are they gonna sell them, or are they gonna rent them? They could sell them for a loss. It's ridiculous. Not a loss to the developers, that's for sure. Randy Hillier. I've been worried sick for months on end about the plight, hardship, and stress our Canadian developers have had to bear not selling their overpriced condos. This announcement lets me sleep better, knowing they won't have to sell their yachts, planes, and art collections. Thank you, banker Mark Carney. Yeah. The last people you should be worrying about is property developers, because they seem to do all right, and when they crash, that's the way it is. You bet wrong, you crash. All right. Let's keep going here. This is the Edmonton bring back the death penalty. According to Edmonton Police Service, the men shouted, this is, who is this, Terry Newman? She's from the National Post. According to Edmonton Police Service, the men shouted at the girls and tried to lure two 14-year-old girls in the van while driving erratically with the side door open. 5 or 6 men inside. Jesus. Yeah, they still haven't caught these guys. Probably on their way back to India. Okay. Basically on the first flight out of here. Okay. Now, more reaction. Doug Boswell. Why should taxpayers who cannot afford to buy a home have their tax dollars used to bail out developers? Developers are business people. They took a gamble and lost. They gambled like Trudeau was going to keep letting in the millions of immigrants. That's what they gambled. But now even the immigrants can't afford these condos. But they, I don't know. It's all messed up. Like, you figure, it's your industry. Like, if you're in the real estate industry, you kind of do research of like whether we should build all these thousands of condos. Like, it doesn't make really much sense what happened. I don't think they're telling us the truth. I think it's just got greedy and they thought there was going to be an infinity amount of Indians and one little slowdown and they're stuck with a bunch of condos. All right. Next, this is the big story in brewing in the UK. UK PM Keir Starmer expected to resign on Monday and set out an orderly exit, just like Trudeau. At first, he denied it, and more MPs got upset with him. And then finally, he said he's going to quit. And then he says, "I'll quit and this is how I'm going to do it." So, and then Carney took over from after the leadership. So, it's the same thing in UK, like literally the same thing. And they did this with the Conservative Party in the UK. They replaced their leaders one after the other, same way. So whether it's Labour or whether it's Conservatives, it's UK's ungovernable. Because, they're at the front line of the immigration thing, them in France and other European countries. But your UK has gotten lots more than Canada. In the sense, Canada, like, they're getting more of the asylum. Well, I think we got a lot of asylum, but anyway, they're seeing the effects first. I think Canada's a lot more spread out too, so we can't notice it as much as them. But yeah, I don't know a lot about British politics, but I know if you've been through 6 prime ministers in 10 years, something's not right. And the next guy, who knows who's going to next. The next guy, the thing is with this stuff, just like when they replaced Trudeau with Carney, people were happy Trudeau was gone. Yeah, but didn't change anything. If anything, it's worse. I mean, they have cut down on the immigration, but they're still letting in hundreds of thousands of PRs every year. And refugees are over 500,000 in backlog. So I don't think it's that much better. And economically, it's just as bad as when Trudeau was here. So what they do is they switch out the leaders. They make you think, oh, Trudeau's gone. Oh, it's great. And then they just keep going on the same BS. And that's what's going on in the UK. They're gonna get rid of Starmer, just like they got rid of Sunak. No, Sunak lost the election. He replaced Boris. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They replace it, the same stuff. Nothing changes. Will the same thing happen in Canada? Well, we got 2 prime ministers in the last year and a half. So we're not quite as unstable as the UK. That's a lot of prime ministers for 10 years. 7 now they're going to have. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer expected to resign on Monday. But yeah, it's just changing it's like we saw here in Canada. You changed Carney. A lot of people like Carney, like the boomers and all that, because he's not as goofy as Trudeau, but he's still doing all the damage. Okay. Keir Starmer resigning is classic system trickery. Yes. The tensions are high, so they pull the plug and he goes off to retire on a $600,000 a year for life and lives with his wife in Israel. So basically, it's just like Trudeau. Now he's with Katy Perry, living it up. Same with Jagmeet Singh. He's surfing. So they just shuffle these guys off with their golden parachutes and put in the next guy. And the public is like, thinks, something happened, some kind of change happened. So it's similar. It's the exact same as. I wonder what Carney will think of his buddy getting. I don't know. He's only been there 2 years. There's another. Starmer ready to resign. Say allies. Prime Minister support evaporating as Burnham's backers hope for a coronation. That's it. Some guy named Andy Burnham. He wants to replace him. But he's the same as Starmer. Watch, in 2 years he'll be gone. Starmer's expected to resign on Monday. His replacement will be a mere facelift and the politics will remain the same. Yes, I agree. Next. So we'll see tomorrow what he says. Yeah, UK's screwed. It's going to go to like civil war or something. All right. Here's another reaction to Carney's. Mark Carney's going to heavily spend taxpayer money this quarter to try and fabricate his way out of the recession his policies and spending have created. Canada is an illusion of a country. Yes, everything's bad. Prices are high. Housing is high. Anyway. Next. This chick, we talked about her yesterday, Stephanie Carvin. So, on one side she's warning about ISIS radicalizing Canadian youth, which is a real thing. Like all these immigrants they brought over from like the Middle East or Africa or wherever are actually good recruits for, groups like that. But what she writes a book on the Canadian far right, white supremacists, which are zero threat as far as I'm concerned when it comes to like terrorist recruitment. They're being recruited from the immigrant side, not from the far right white supremacist side. But she co-wrote a book on the rise of far right extremism in Canada. All right, what's next? Reminder, Indians were expelled from Uganda for doing what they did in America with the Patel Motel cartel and with the foreign worker program in Canada. So there is a precedent there. I know they were kicked out of there. I'm going to ask why. Okay. Ask Rock. Why were the Indians kicked out of Uganda? There was a lot of Indians in Uganda, I guess. Ugandan dictator Idi Amin expelled nearly all Asians, primarily Indians, from Uganda, giving them 90 days to leave. This affected an estimated 55 to 80,000 people. Many had lived in Uganda for generations. He's the remigration guy, this guy, Idi Amin. The order followed Amin's announcement in 1972 after he claimed a dream from God instructed him to act. By the early 70s, Asians, less than 1% of the population, controlled around 90% of Uganda's businesses and paid roughly 90% of its tax revenue. They formed a visible and relatively prosperous middle class. So, basically, they got kicked out because they controlled everything, I guess, and the Africans didn't like that. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Okay. Here's more reaction on this condo deal. Carney and David Eby bailing out billionaire real estate developers will cost them politically. Millions of Canadians are losing their homes. Young Canadians can't afford a home, but Carney is taking care of his Brookfield buddies with taxpayer money. Yeah, we'll see if this hurts him. Pierre was saying something today, but nothing, like he's not doing anything, Pierre. Like, he's not being effective as far as I'm concerned. He's being ineffective as an opposition leader. All right. Next, more reaction. Canadians are hearing two messages at the same time. There are not enough homes. 5 million shortage. Yeah, how many times did the politicians say, not just Carney, but like Pierre and Doug Ford and all of them, it's like, we got to build. Now, there are too many homes, and they're sitting unsold. So we heard for months, we need to build, and now it's like, there's too many, and they're unsold. So that's weird, too. It's really weird. I don't think that's, I always knew there wasn't a housing shortage. I knew that. They're building houses like crazy. I see it everywhere I go. The problem is people can't afford it. Unless you live 10 to a house and you have a bit of mortgage fraud, then you can afford it. And live 15 to a house. Rent each room out to 3 people. But, so yeah, there was never a building shortage. Housing short, like it was high demand from endless immigration for the rentals, at least. So you couldn't like afford rent, and then you couldn't afford to buy a house either because the prices went up. So, but they were saying, "Oh, we just have to build more houses." No. If you can't afford, you can build 10 million houses. If you can't afford the house, it's gonna sit empty. So it's a mess. Okay. Here's another one. This will be the last. Not much going on today. Carney ran on a platform of massive increases to home construction plus social housing, which is now morphed into a massive transfer of public funds to private developers to get dog shit coffin-sized condos off their books. Yeah, and they're making it sound like, oh, this is going to be affordable housing. It's like a studio apartment. What are you going to do with that? Okay, and that's funny. Trump. See, Starmer's resignation is not official. It's basically leaked. It's probably going to happen. Like, there's enough outlets reporting it that it's probably not a mistake. But I guess Trump put it on Truth Social. Pretty embarrassing for Keir. Not that I feel sorry for him. Trump's Truth Social message amplified weeks of rumors after Labour's stinging loss in the June 19th by-election to Andy Burnham, Greater Manchester's mayor, who now heads to Parliament. Wait. I thought Andy Burnham was a Labour guy. Sources say... Okay, I don't know. I'm not getting anything here. Anyway, we'll see tomorrow what Keir Starmer does, but it's interesting because he's like a Carney guy. Him and Carney are totally on the same page, but I'm sure the same guy. I'm sure the guy that replaces Keir, what is his name, Starmer? We won't need to know his name soon. But I'm sure the guy who replaces Starmer will be buddies with Carney too. I'm pretty sure. All right. So that's it for today. It's not very. It's pretty depressing, really. Like, we got Carney helping out his billionaire buddies, and Pierre is missing and basically useless. So I don't know what's going to happen with Canada here. Canada Day's coming, though. Canada Day, yeah, that's next week. So we'll have to celebrate Canada Day, whatever little there is to celebrate. But anyway, we'll see what happens in the next few days. I'm sure some news will come up. So we'll be back June 24th. June 24th. So until then, have yourselves a nice night.